All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, all you beautiful tree lovers out there. My name is Matt Latham, and we are live. If y'all give me just a minute, we're not quite ready to kick this bad boy off. We've got nobody on here right now, but that's actually perfect because that works out. I got some house to do. And what's that? What do you got, Tyler? Alexa. Oh, cool. Fabrication. Yeah, we're doing some root bridging on some trees. I got to deal with that later, though, dog. What we're doing now, we're going to go to this place. If y'all give me just a minute, I got to share this to all our cool groups. Lots and lots of groups to share it to. Arborist on demand. And we're live, y'all. If you're joining me, thank you so much for being here. I'm not quite ready yet. I'm actually just sharing this across all the interwebs and making sure we've got all the bases covered, y'all. We're going to share this to Ask an Arborist, but thank you so much for being here. I don't even know who you are. All right, and we're over in Ask an Arborist, and we're going to share this again to the twit faces. How do I do that? X. Share this over to Twitter, and we're going to hit the LinkedIn button, and then we're going to call that a day. Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, buenos saben. What's up, Lydia? I see the hola. ¿Cómo está, señora? Saludos. Happy to be here. If you'll give me just a minute. Wow, we got like 13 people on live. That's fun. Y'all, I'm still getting ready to rock and roll. I don't know what that is. That's weird. We're sharing this over all the way across the interwebs. We are going to Twitter, Facebook, Facebook group, Facebook page, LinkedIn even. That's fun. And then we've got it over on the tubes of you as well. So I see we've got, a dozen people. What's up, Academic Mailbox? Thanks for being here, buddy. And then I got to share this to LinkedIn too, y'all. Sorry. Give me just a minute, and we're going to get live and in some cool action talking about y'all's tree care questions. So if you'll give me just a breath here, I am going to get set up and ready. We're going to jump right into it because let's face it, y'all, it's fall, and the weather is beautiful out there. Here in Houston, it's boring and brown, but for the rest of y'all out in the world, it is beautiful out there. Even Dallas has got – I drove through there recently, and y'all got some beautiful fall colors. And so we're going to go ahead and post this here. There's all my housekeeping, y'all. What's up, all you beautiful tree lovers? Once again, just a little housekeeping. My name's Matt Latham. I'm a board-certified Master Arborist and registered consulting arborist. There's about 100 to 120 of us at any given time. And long story short, I like trees, and I think you should too. Actually, let's jump back over to LinkedIn. I want to show y'all something cool because, quite frankly, I'm really impressed. I'm down here in big old H-Town. Not a fan, to be honest, but it is what it is. That's okay. But Mr. Mayor of Houston, Mr. Whitmire, was actually a critical part of a fun little advocacy program that I was a part of called Save Montrose Live Oaks. If you want to have a little fun, this is a project. We just had another Tiers meeting last night. Tiers is the tax increment reinvestment zone. And essentially, they were going to bulldoze all of the trees on Live Oak, on Montrose. And there's like, I think it was 284 mature trees that we found. Some of them over like 140 to 160 years old. And that's not me, but that's some of our advocates. But we basically posted up. We got 3 trees registered as historic. We petitioned all the way up. We got like 9,000 petition signatures. And we made it all the way up to the mayor of Houston. Now, if you don't know, Houston's kind of a big city. There's what, like 12 million people in Houston, in the Houston Metroplex, like big city. I think there's like 4 million in Houston proper. And it turns out that y'all, trees are good for people, like appreciating assets, very beneficial. They provide all these cool stuff, but all these cool benefits. Crime rates are lowered in communities that have mature trees, y'all. Trees are important. They soak up stormwater runoff. They sequester carbon. Like, they're just wonderful, wonderful appreciating assets. They only get better and better as they grow more mature. What's up, Christina? Thanks for being here. And so, you know, this political group had a $58 million project. Remember that number, because that's important. $58 million is not a small chunk of change, to basically bulldoze all of the trees on Montrose, 284 trees. Okay, that's we're not going there, Christina, but I appreciate the comment. So they wanted to bulldoze all these trees, and it turns out trees are great for people, and so we got it. We got it all the way up to the mayor. Mayor Whitmire was awesome. He basically came in and shut the whole project down and wanted them to go back to the drawing board. So he just posted a thing on here, and it was, I don't even know where my posts are, but here we go. Tranquility Parks, Houston. I reposted it because I was really excited about it. You just watch and learn about trees, Christina. That's a good game plan, I think. Trees are good for people. So basically, Mayor Whitmire is pro trees, and like I said, trees are great for people. And so we're pro trees. We keep that mentality. And so that's what we're here to do, is answer y'all's tree care questions. And it turns out we got a lot of them, y'all. So let's get right into it. There's some of our political emails coming through now. But essentially, they did shut the project down here on Montrose. All of the trees were preserved. Got to go back to what, Christina? All right. While you're answering me that, Christina, I'm going to go right here, and we're going to talk about... Oh, never mind. We're not going to talk about that. That's hilarious. Okay, so Casey's looking for free wood, y'all. Christina, there you go. Sorry, bad joke. All right, we have a 10-year-old tree that was very healthy a few months ago, but now looking very sickly. It appears to be infested by gall wasp because... Let's see why because. Why because? There are galls on many of the branches. That's a fair because. Also, the tree's bark has split... Tree has bark and split branch union problems. We don't talk about crotches here, y'all. That's gross. We live in a suburb of Houston, Texas. Hey, that's fun. Me too. Would cabling or a through-bolt brace help to save this tree? Let's check it out a little bit before that. I want to see the full picture here. All right, so I think Samuel. Wait. This is important, y'all. Samuel, I think... You do not have to worry about that yet, but you will very soon. And there's a couple things you could do to lighten the load a little bit. Let's go 8 minutes, 9 minutes. I need the video too. Bro, you got to go back. What am I supposed to do? Here we go. Oh, that's right. I needed this one. Sorry, y'all. My internet is just super, super slow. All the kids must be getting off a hike school. Here we go. That's what I need. All right, so we're going to share this. Copy and right over here. Cool. All right, Casey, let's get right into it. I'm sorry. That's that, or Samuel, excuse me. That took way longer than I expected. But okay, so yes, you are absolutely right, Samuel, to question this that you're going through. You've got a tree that is in the. This is kind of the developmental stage of the tree. I'm not real worried about the condition that it's in right now, but I think future speak, you might have some reasons to worry about it. And so, what I want you to do is reach out to me because I'm actually in the neighborhood, and you know we're all about not self-promoting on this channel. I think that's important that we keep this a clean channel, that we keep it just really non-biased. But I happen to be in your neighborhood, so I'd love to help if I can, Samuel. But hit me up on arboristonDemand.com. Those galls are actually chalcid wasps typically. Chalcid wasps are not that big of a deal often. Sometimes they can be a problematic thing, but really they're not that big of a deal. Essentially what's happening is the bug, the chalcid wasp, is stinging the limb, and that what they're doing is they're laying their eggs while they do that. And then as a result, the little baby chalcid wasps start growing up, and the tree forms this weird growth around it. That's what those gall are. You definitely have a weak branch union there and right there, Samuel. That's important too. Both of those limbs are what we would consider those structural defects. I will say this. You're actually making the problem significantly worse pruning out the stuff in the middle. That needs to stay. All of those are going to create good carbohydrates. All of those leaves that grow in the middle, they'll create carbohydrates that the tree can use in that particular limb. Now, the other thing I want to point out, don't oh, my bad. Sorry, I meant to just press pause. Don't paint those wounds. That's so bad, Samuel. I'm not razzing on you, I promise. And we've known for like 30, 40 years that actually slows down the rate of compartmentalization that the tree is able to seal those wounds. You don't want to do that. You want to stay away from that. But you definitely have a structural weakness here. Now, unfortunately, that's the limb that's growing towards your house. What I want you to do is actually not cable it yet, but I want you to come on to the very ends of this branch union. And I want you to reduce that. Let me just go ahead and I'm going to take a screenshot and I'm going to show you because this is a fun one. This is a really good use case because it's actually you definitely have a structural defect going on there, but it's not too late. You've got a very young tree, and this is something we can work with over time to make sure you've got a good situation here. But what I want you to do is basically come in and reduce a lot of this height off of this tree. There's two limbs there. I would maybe come in here, it looks like. Maybe come in here. Maybe come in here. Looks like something like that. Now, that's a very, very, very rough draft. And maybe if we were to... Great boogers today. Bro, got you back. What? I think I'm good, actually. I was clearing out earlier, so make sure that we're good, little toilet. What an odd thing to say, though. You admiring my boogers? What a creeper. That's funny. Stay tuned, though, if you want to talk about talk trees and learn trees. This is a great channel for that. So, Samuel, that's what I would do is you can kind of see here. Let me blow it up a little bit for you. Oops, that's not helping. No, maybe it's not going to blow up a little. Oh, well, that's okay. But you kind of get the point. What you want to do is reduce the canopy height. That's going to improve the overall structure of that tree. And what it's going to do is allow this other side to catch up. Now, I'm a little hesitant to say prune at all, even because really you're in a very young spot. You know what? I'm gonna take back everything I said. Hold on, y'all. This is crazy. I had a better idea now. So that's not what I want you to do, Samuel. I want you to. No, I want you to reduce the other side, and I want you to train that side that's growing into your house to be the strong dominant lead. Now, that sounds counterproductive, but we're going to train that to be a really, really super strong tree, and that's okay. And like I said, if we can be of help here in the neighborhood, I'm not far from you at all. You're going to reduce all of this stuff. And because you've already got, this has kind of become the dominant lead on the tree. And for better or worse, it's really hard to correct that out of it at this point. The tree's a little bit old for that. But I do want you to go to treesaregood.org. Aregood.org or .com. Either way works. It'll send you to the same place. But that's a really wonderful website put up by the International Society of Arboriculture. Excuse me. And if you click here on the Tree Owners Resources section, woo! All right, we're good. You've got a lot of really, really great resources. One of those is pruning young trees. Why topping trees hurts. Talks even about palms, which we like to do here in the Houston area. And, palms are great trees. They're actually not technically trees. They're genetically closer to a grass than they are a tree. But managing tree hazards, recognizing tree risk. This is a really great PDF for you. It talks about various things. One of those is split limbs and codominant leads. And you want to pay special attention to those codominant stems right here. Can often be failure points. Multiple branch attachments at one point on a stem can also be considered a defect. So in answer to your question, Sam, we would consider this a defect. That was a faulty tree. They should have done that, I don't know, a long time ago. Randy Blau, Kate, living in England, frequently describes it as, academic mailbox. We got to go over that. That's really important. But yes, right now you're okay. What you want to do now is what we call structural pruning. Samuel, you don't need to bolt that or cable that yet. If you do, you want to use a dynamic cabling system. These are going to be things like Cobra cabling system, and things like that. That's going to allow those branch unions to flex, which will actually increase the strength of that tree overall. But this is kind of what it looks like. Essentially, it is, there's a little bit of, it's a rope. There's a little bit of play in the rope. Why is it not clicking? Hello, click there, please. Okay, yeah, so you can kind of see it actually goes around it. This is not something you install and forget about. This is something you need to have checked out every year or two, really, by a good certified arborist, somebody that really knows their stuff. You don't want to just leave this up to chance and leave this up to some punk kid that's first just getting their feet wet in the industry. You want to make absolute sure you're doing this the right way, because one false move and that could be the end of your tree. And so you want to make sure that this is done. I actually have had one cable that I've ever installed break, and it was a dynamic cable, very simple, similar to this Cobra system. And so you don't want to trust it. You want to make sure it's maintained and looked at every single year or so, and hope that helps, man. But yeah, good training. You got a live oak. Live oaks are really, really strong trees, and you don't want to cable it yet. Definitely stay away from the, I think cabling in the future, Josh has got it right. Cabling in the future, structural pruning now, you're fine. You're fine. The lion's tailing, though, I agree with Josh. You got to get rid of that lion's tail pruning. Whoever landscape whatever landscape crew is pruning your trees, bro, don't let them anymore. They're done. All right, Debbie's asking, we got this cranberry cotton Easter for about 20 years. Interestingly, there's been a random few branches growing from the trunk of it. Leaves look a bit like an oak, but one of the branches has thorns. How does this happen? I think we're going to go into tree biology here, y'all. This is fun. Looks like you've lost a lot of branches on that, and it looks like maybe there's a graft point on here, Debbie. Now, I'm speculating. This is speculation at best. But often, let me look it up. Are cotton Easters typically grafted? Not typically grafted. Known as standard shrub ground covers, are commonly created by grafting them onto the upright standard stock to achieve a desired height and shape. Okay, so you've got what kind of cotton Easter? Cranberry. I don't know that one. Cotton Easters, we don't have them here. Nope. Okay, so it's not a graft point. What may be going on, Debbie, and I don't know cotton Easters that well, right? So it's just grain of salt here. Rootstock reversion. That was what I was thinking, was it was reverting back to the rootstock, but cotton Easters are not typically grafted. So what I'm thinking may be going on here is you may have a bit of a hormone problem with the tree. It's not creating the leaves the way they're supposed to. It's creating too many thorns, et cetera, et cetera. Often, not always, often that can actually be an issue of more than anything like a herbicide type issue. So answer me this, Debbie, are you using any type of herbicide? If you are, you got to slow it down or quit altogether. I actually need to grab this. Edit, copy, and we're pasting. I think that was at the 19-minute mark, somewhere in there. I think, and I could be wrong, I think you got some sort of a hormone disruption, possibly caused by some sort of herbicide or phytotoxicity. I see the wood looks really fresh and new, so I'm wondering maybe if they use like mineral spirits to wash out their paintbrushes, or if they just had paint drift or anything like that. Those can absolutely cause those funky growth patterns that you're seeing. The epicormic sprouts that are turning into branches, that definitely is a sign of some sort of stress. Typically, trees are going to want to grow out instead of from the middle, from the branch and all that. So, so I think that's what's going on. And maybe you could tell me a little bit more about it. We can always hop on a digital arborist consultation, and I'm happy to check it out in person, and we can really figure out what's going on here. So the website there is actually, I'll just link it to you here. But hopefully that helps, Debbie. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. That's kind of weird, but it's kind of cool because tree biology is really a fascinating thing to me. I love how trees and plants and all that grow, because it turns out they're really cool. And I think a lot of it was God ordained and God designed. And so what happens is we're getting a glimpse into God's creativity. And it's not the end all be all. There's much more to it than that. But, I do see in nature a lot of brilliant design work. And some of that is whenever you've got a stressor that's happening, the tree may be like, hey, I got to protect myself and preserve myself. And so what it'll do is put off those thorns as a prevention from predators. And so anyways, I hope that helps. Probably not a big deal, but maybe you've got some stress going on. What I would suggest too is maybe showing me the root flares, because I suspect, and I could be wrong, you've got buried root flares, and that's no good. So we are moving on, y'all. Keith is asking, got about 3 acres of land that has tons of oaks and poplars, about 8-inch in diameter, that fork off in 2 to 4 forks per tree. Can I pick the best of each tree and remove the other forks? I would not. Yeah, no. Yeah, I would definitely not. As a forester and an arborist. Lindsay Watkins. I don't know what that means. I don't know you, Lindsay. What are we at? 24. What I will say is no, let them be. We're going to need a lot more details, Keith. If we're going to be able to answer this properly, we're going to need a lot of details here. And I just don't know. I don't know enough to really answer that. But what I do have a general rule here, Keith, and this is, I want you to take this to heart because this is really important. If a tree put it there, you and I and every professional on the planet, whether they're good at what they do or not, have to have a better reason to take that to take that off, which the tree put there. So it's very important. Consider, hey, the tree maybe had a reason for putting those limbs on there. And by the way, oaks, that is perfectly normal for them to fork off into multiple branch unions. What you don't want to do is have like a really narrow branch union, like something like this. Let me go and show you on the whiteboard here. On the big screen, y'all. So if you've got a tree and it branches off something like this with a really narrow branch union or set of branch unions, you may want to actually consider that. So letter V versus the letter U, that's what you want to look for. This is going to be a very strong branch union. Letter V is going to be a very weak branch union. And so if you've got really narrow branch unions, what's happening is the fibers are actually growing the same direction. When you've got a large branch union, one like this, one that's more shaped like a U, what's happening is the fibers are actually ingraining into and wrapping around each other. And so what happens is you form a really, really strong branch union. And so that is going to be much, 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 much less likely to break and come crashing down in the next storm. Whereas something like this most certainly can be a problem. So Keith, maybe that's the right answer to your question is look for narrow branch unions. And if you do, don't necessarily just get rid of them right off the bat. Maybe consider reducing the canopy height instead. Height reduction. But again, just take your hands, form a letter like a loser letter, but then with an extra one in there. And this is a weak branch union. This is a strong branch union. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at these things. This is what you want. You don't want a bunch of these guys. Otherwise, that could spell trouble. So hope that helps, pal. We are moving on. Oops. Y'all don't want to look at my ugly mug all day. All right. Here we go. By the way, for those of you joining us, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button, that would be really, really, really super helpful. We are a not-for-profit industry. That's mostly because I'm in tree care. But also, I do this because you guys have some awesome questions, and there are some really, really, really terrible answers out there. I see it all the time, even on our own Ask an Arborist group here that we're streaming on. I see so many bad answers to great questions. And so what we're here for is to dispel a lot of those myths. I back everything I come up with. I didn't actually come up with most of it, by the way, but we back it all up with science because there's a lot of really smart dudes and ladies out there trying to figure this stuff out. We actually know how trees work now. So, all right, Nigel is asking, what's up, Nigel from Queensland? That is definitely a Queensland name. We don't have many Nigels here in the States, bro. Thanks for the great question. But here's what we're looking at is we've got a Royal Poinciana. They're really cool trees. We don't have them here in Houston. I actually have seen one, and it was in a flower pot in the sweet lady's backyard. But super cool trees, beautiful trees. They don't do well in here in Houston. You got to take them in the winter. So Nigel cut the branch that the saw resting on it in the last pick, but I'm not sure what to do with the rest. I've peeled a lot of loose bark off and found a little pocket of slime that I've been cleaning up. That slime, Nigel, is probably, I don't know. I'm not there looking at it, but it's probably slime flux or some sort of bacterial infection, which is generally benign. It's not going to cause significant decay into the tree and cause it to come crashing down in the next storm. But you've got that, and then that's one option. Another option, it could be a little more sinister, something like a Phytophthora type of water mold fungus. But I don't know. That's all speculation. You're going to have to actually send off lab samples to really find out, but that may help. So peeled off bark, finds slime pockets in there, got to clean them out, hoping it can be saved. I had a myrtle growing through it. I think done some of the damage and cleared a ground bed around it 12 months ago, and it's grown a lot since then. but not much sign of healing. I actually disagree with you. I see a lot of signs of sealing. Ooh, what am I doing here? So let's check this out together, you guys. Together. I had a personal trainer used to tell me that. We're going to do it together. You got a cool accent too. That's not ideal. That is gone. I think what you're saying is maybe this limb was removed, but I'm not sure. So here I see new tissue growing, Nigel. That's a good thing. Oh, look at all that beautiful wound closure wood, y'all. I want to use this as like primo example. This is spot on, exactly what we're looking for. See, the thing is, trees don't heal in the sense that you and I do. What they do is they seal. And so you and I replace tissue. If I get a cut on my arm, my body's going to fill in the gaps. If a tree gets a cut on its arm or on its branch, if you will, it doesn't have the ability to fill in the wound because that tissue inside is non-living. So what we need to understand is that instead of healing the wound, what it's going to do is it's going to want to seal the wound. And so let's just take a big bark damage chunk, for example. Let's say you come in here and somebody drives a skid steer while they're doing construction and it leaves this nasty little wound. Like, ouch, poor tree. Or let's say a car crashes into it. What's going to happen? And instead of the tree just filling in that wound like you and I would think of, I see it all the time. People will actually come in there and they'll fill it with like that spray foam stuff or like even concrete. Very bad. Don't ever do that, you guys. What they'll do is the tree is, instead of filling that heartwood tissue in, it's going to simply grow around it. And so what you'll see is exactly what we're seeing here on Nigel's photo is this tissue here is all new wound closure tissue. And I love to see that. You got it here. Maybe I see a couple issues here where it was damaged. And then, oh man, that's so beautiful though. I know you're seeing a lot of damage on this, Nigel, but the tree is trying. He's really trying, and you're going in the right direction with this. So it looks like this limb was removed. I'm sorry you did that. I wish you didn't, but that's okay. We still got a lot of canopy left over. Now, what you definitely want to do is not spray that wound. Don't do it, Nigel. You're going to be tempted to fill it in with concrete or something, but don't do it. I think this is the limb that was removed. And so it's unfortunate. I wish you didn't do that. It was better if you didn't do that, but here we are. So what we want to do is just very simply give the tree the resources it needs. Oxygen in the soil is going to be your best friend. You've also got some maybe exit wounds from some borers. You might want to do an insecticide, but I wouldn't do that yet. The tree actually seems in really good health after all that was done. What I would do is check the root flares. Make sure you flare out really nice at the bottom. I'll go ahead and draw that out for you too. This is kind of what we want to see. So where the tree transitions into root tissue right there at the bottom, that is such a hypercritical part of the tree that if there's like dirt and stuff like that buried over the roots, a lot of times or even grass, that can trap moisture up against the trunk. And then you've got all sorts of mushrooms and things like that can grow and cause problems, whatever. So we don't want that. We want to stay away from keeping things right there at the base of the trunk. Make sure those root flares are exposed. You might want to try giving it some humates and some molasses, maybe some seaweed extract or some like rock phosphates for some organic phosphorus. Those are going to help provide the tissue to rebuild, the resources rather to rebuild that tissue. So hope that helps, Nigel. We are moving on, buddy. All right. By the way, thank you guys for being here. I see we've got a handful of folks on here, and we'd love to have you help me out. That would really go a long ways. If you could just do me a favor and click that like button, that would go so far. And here's a fun question. We had a lot of fun on this one. We got a pretty good conversation going too. So Ian's what I believe is, what are you, like a 13-year veteran in the tree care industry and learning how to be an arborist. Ian, I love Elon. I don't know what your name is, bro. I'm sorry. But kudos, keep that up. I love that you're striving and trying to be a better arborist, trying to grow your career and your industry and all that. And I think the world of that. I think you're on the right path. We need more good, passionate people that give a rat's whatever about trees, because quite frankly, there's so many people out there that are working on trees that have no business to do so. And so I love that you're doing that. But you and I talked a little bit. We already talked a little bit about the trees compaction levels, especially if you had machinery out there and things like that. I know you said that there was no physical damage, but I actually see different. Oh, I got to press the enter button. Oops. Where are we at? 34. 34, 35. Doesn't matter. There we go. All right. So, Elon, I love what you're doing, dude. You're out there working on people's trees and you're striving and trying to be better. Mostly I was in search of remedies to the known issues, root compaction, some borer beetle, and overexposure. I'm used to people having me cut them down. I'd like to spend more energy trying to save them. Yes. Well done. Keep that up. Because, like, quite frankly, trees make humans better. If it's good for trees, it's good for people, y'all. So, Elon, I'm happy to be a resource for you, bro. Hit me up if you ever need to talk trees, or feel free to keep posting great questions. You get a plethora of answers. Let's see what Ron's got to say. Ron's a great guy. He's a phenomenal arborist, too. It's not recommended to remove more than 1/3. I don't think the 1/3 rule applies to something or another. You're going to have to wait. Joint chiropractic. Oh, that's funny. That's my chiropractor, y'all. As a forester and arborist, you'd be better off doing select removals of whole trees, leaving the ones that are healthiest. Yeah, I agree with that. Applies in this situation. I've watched Dr. Ed Gelman's the top expert in the field on structural pruning. Remove 40 to 50% of live growth when doing structural pruning on young trees. I agree, Ronald. I love that because you and I agree on that. I think on younger trees, there's like a healthy tree, it's better to go heavy. So you're setting the tree up for success later. Now, you don't want to just like go heavy on it and then just leave it to rot. But, it's like trees are resilient, especially when they're younger. They can bounce back a lot of times from these things. So, ooh, gross. Why did I do that? It's not the right thing. All right. So, Elon, hope that helps, buddy. We'll, like I said, I'm happy to be a resource for you at any time. Give me a shout. Or just find us, keep posting those great questions. All right, so this one's a little tough, Eric. I'm sorry. I wish I had more information, but I can't answer that. I don't even know the answer because I don't know what's going on here, y'all. By the way, so for those of you that want to post questions, make sure you're doing it right. The thing is there's I can't tell what is going on. It looks like maybe frass. Frass is a fancy way of saying bug excrement, and typically what happens is boring beetles or moths or wasps will lay their eggs inside of the trunk of the tree, and then as the larvae grow up, what they'll do is they'll start tunneling through, eating the living tissue. Oh, that's fun. My doctor's great. And so as they do that, they got to take care of their business just like you do. And so what they'll do is they'll leave this trail of frass. It's basically bug feces combined with sawdust. So hope that helps. I really don't know. Do me a favor, Eric, and give me some more pictures. And maybe a little bit of background information, if you don't mind. But also, y'all, just so you know, too, up at the very top, as you first go onto our little group here, there's a bunch of pinned posts. And my wife did one back in June. It's absolutely perfect. Is how to post a question so it gets answered. Matt and other lovely professionals need some specific info to answer your questions. Y'all, if you go to the doctor and be like, hey, my toe hurts, figure it out. They're going to need to know a little more information. They're maybe going to run some tests, maybe going to ask you questions, etc., etc. And we're no different, y'all. We're arborists. We're really good at what we do typically, but we're also human, and so we need a little more background information. This is just simply not even close to enough to go off of. So, hit me up with some more information, and I am happy to help however I can. Oopsies. That's the wrong mark. Where are we at? 39-minute mark. Okay, so Dwayne's asking, oh my goodness, why does it keep doing that? It just like jumps up 10,000 feet every now and then. All right, how do I tell if my maple has, that's crazy. Why is it doing that, y'all? If anybody knows, let me know. If my maple has girdling roots, well, here's one way to know is the root coming across? You're gonna have to excavate the soil, I guess is what I'm saying. The main thing is if you've got roots that come across your root flare, especially. And let me go ahead and draw this out on the big screen, y'all, because this is a really important one, and one that is kind of foundationary to. Is that a word? Foundational to a tree's health. So trees are going to have these big giant root flares that come up something like that, and they're going to taper into trunk tissue. That's a great thing. That's what you want to see. But sometimes you'll get roots that, let's say they come out here and maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, and you've got all these roots and they come out and they start growing into transitionary tissue. It's like the worst root system ever drawn, I think. But essentially, sometimes, especially if there's dirt covering the roots will come up for air and they'll start wrapping around the tree, just like that. And what they'll do is they'll compress against that trunk tissue. Now, think of it like wearing a really bad pair of shoes or like a tourniquet or something. I don't even know what that is. That looks perverted, y'all. But anyways, you get the point. Is basically these roots are going to come up for air, and they're going to get to a certain point and they're going to branch out. Now, if you've got soil on top of the root flare, by the way, this is one reason why I'm so adamant about taking that dirt, that mulch, that compost, whatever it is, off of the root flares. That's so hypercritical, because what'll happen, the roots come up, they get to a certain point, they start growing around the tree, and that's where you get that tourniquet type growing condition, where you've got like, you've got basically you're tying a knot around the tree and cutting off the circulation. And as the root flare grows and as the tree grows in diameter, the trunk, they'll compress there and it'll literally cut off the circulation. I've seen trees lose 40% of their canopy because of one girdling root. So it's very critical. Make sure you don't have roots, dirt over the root flares. Anyways, there's my soapbox for the day. So I do have a video for you. How to remove a girdling root from tree. I'm going to give you a couple videos here, Dwayne. If I can get my internet to load. Here we go. That. And where is it? That. So go check those videos out. Maybe that'll help you. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But that's the whole point, is we're here to help. And so I hope it does. And what on earth is going on here, y'all? Oh, I didn't press the enter button. That's hilarious, you guys. I'm about to leave y'all hanging. About to leave y'all hanging. I'm sorry, you guys. Where are we at? That's 42 mark, I think, right? 42-minute mark. So yeah, I hope that helps. Why is it doing that? I scroll up once and it goes up like 10 pages. That's crazy. By the way, Dwayne, just so you know too, girdling roots way out in the soil, they're not really a big deal. Let them grow. All right. So Joel is asking 6 oaks in the picture. This one got a lot of traction too. We're having some great conversations in here, y'all, and I really appreciate you guys being here. Let's see, 45-minute mark. So a friend has 6 oaks in the picture. My question is, how much dirt can I fill in around them without unaliving them? We're bringing 35 tons of soil, which is really not that much. It sounds like a lot, but that's only, what's up, Ian? Yeah, that's what, 20 yards maybe. Soil, which puts the tree in a 6 feet up from the ground. I don't think it's that much actually, but you actually, so Joel, your best bet is to do a tree well around those trees and then fill it in way on the outside of that. That can often be a very good solution. Not great pictures, but yeah, you definitely want to create some sort of a tree well. If you start filling in, oh, there we go. Guy, what's up, buddy? Guy, as always, with some awesome answers. He is a phenomenal arborist, by the way. He wrote a program called Detective Dendro years and years ago. I don't know if he still does it, but I actually learned a lot of what I know from Guy Mayer. So thank you, Guy, for being here and some great answers to your questions. But what I wouldn't do is just come in and fill it in right up to the trunks, Joel. That will unalive your trees eventually, more than likely, or cause them, even worse, cause them to fall on your house or your buddy's house anyways. That's also very bad, obviously. So you don't want that. But what you can do is create a tree well around the tree. And let me show you what that looks like on the big screen real quick, Joel, because that's pretty cool stuff. So you got all these. I'm just going to do it on one tree just so we have an example. But let's say you've got a tree here. It's a terrible drawing of a tree. That's okay. And you got a area here, and let's say it slopes down and all that. And we're going to come in and we're going to fill this in. Well, if you just come up with dirt right up to the trunk, that's very, very bad. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. But what you can do is the tree has spent a long time getting used to this area. And so it has roots all through this area. We want as many of those as we can to live and thrive. And so what you can do is you can create what's called a tree well, where this area is undisturbed. This area is retained, and you can fill it in with whatever you want, kind of dirt, gravel, sand, whatever. I don't care, but you want to keep it at least 5 times the diameter of the trunk. So if you've got a 2-foot trunk, you want to multiply that by 10, and you got 10 feet. Oops. 5 equals 10 feet. You want to state a bare minimum. Bare minimum, Joel, of 10 feet away from there. Bare minimum. If you can double that, that's significantly better, because it looks like some of those trees are pretty big. So stay as far away as you can. That area within this little formula here is what we call the root plate, and that holds a good 85% of the tree up often. So you don't want to mess with that. Stay away from it if you can, and hope that helps, pal. But we are moving on, you guys. Hey, thanks so much for being here, y'all. Do me a favor, hit that like button. That's going to really help out a lot. Whenever you do that, it helps to push it out to more people, and push the algorithms with the tubes of you. We all know the almighty Google loves to see a little action on certain posts. So y'all do me a favor and do that, and share it out if you can. Hit the share button. You can even just copy it and send it to your buddy. That's even going to help quite a bit. But Yeah, we're trying to grow this channel, and it's been slow going, but we are steadily. What's really cool is the YouTube channel has been slow going, but the Ask an Arborist group, y'all want free information? Oh yeah, you love it. Y'all have grown by like 150 minimum per week, people. So that's 20 plus a day. And it's just been wild. It's been really fun to watch it grow and for y'all to be a part of this community. So thank you all of you who've been here and been hanging out with me and talking trees and all that. But anyways, so let's get back into it. But again, it really helps out if you would hit that like button. That goes a long way. So Dan's asking Southeast Texas, which is kind of my neck of the woods. I have several water oaks. Those are Quercus nigra for those of you that don't know or are big nerds like me, on my property that developed the spotty issue with limbs every fall/winter. Am I correct that this is due to squirrel damage or some form of limb/twig girdler? I don't think it would be a limb/twig girdler. Because that is really isolated. Yeah, that was my response was really not a lot to go off of here. Not enough to be able to give you a great answer. But what I can say is it's probably not hypoxylin. Hey, what's up, Jamie? Thanks for being here. Yeah, I don't have enough to go off of to determine if it's hypoxylin or not. Really, we would have to take a closer look, and that's where the digital arborist consultation is going to come in. Again, I'm down here in Southeast Texas as well. I'm in the Houston area, so maybe, just maybe. What's up, big dog? Not much, big dog. Jamie Reese, do I know you? So yeah, I'm not really sure. What's my favorite tree? Great question, Jamie. That's awesome question. My favorite tree is a Quercus macrocarpa. It is a bur oak is the name of it. It's a common name of it. Quercus macrocarpa, macro meaning big and carpa meaning fruited. So big fruited oak. They're the ones with the big golf ball sized acorns that fall and dent your cars. So wonderful trees to have out in a field. Not the best tree to have near your sidewalk with grandma walking down there at risk of busting her butt and breaking her pelvis. But they're wonderful, wonderful trees. If you have in the backyard away from things like preferably the pool and stuff, you don't want it there either. Don't park your cars under it because they'll drop and they will ding the daylights out of it. But Quercus macrocarpa is my favorite tree. Bur oak. Great question. Appreciate that. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Oh, did I answer your question? There we go. Yeah, so I'm happy to help. Take a look at it if you want. I don't know. I don't have enough information to go off of. I'm sorry. I wish I could help more, but that is a cockroach. Freed, I'm sorry. I don't know. Would you mind possibly identifying this boring beetle and suggest a course of action to eradicate them, preferably DIY, but any advice is appreciated. That's cockroach. That's probably living in a palm if you're talking about trees. Yeah. Ew. Y'all ever seen, what was that, Men in Black? No. Okay, so the fungus is what's eating your tree, Freed. I don't think it's the actual boring beetle. I really don't. This is not a borer. It's taking advantage of the already decayed wood. Nice, comfy little home, soft tissue. You can just kind of push aside when it needs to get somewhere. Why is bur oak my favorite? Ooh, that's another fun question. Bur oak is my favorite because they will grow to hundreds of years old. They're very majestic, super fun to climb, very, very few problems. They're even oak wilt resistant. The main things the main issues that I see with them are when people come in and disturb the roots. So they can have they're tolerant of a lot of different things, but when you start messing with the roots, post oaks are the same way, very close relatives. Quercus stellata is the post oak. That's another one of my favorites, by the way. But they're in the white oak family, and they just don't like having their roots messed with. That's the only thing about them. But other than that, if you leave them alone, they will just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And they get so... I had a friend of mine, we used to compete climbing trees together, and we'd go find the biggest, baddest tree in the forest. And what we would do... Y'all looking at pictures of cockroaches. That's hilarious. I'm going to get rid of this because that's just bothering me. Well, we'd pick these biggest, baddest. We'd set up all these bells in the tree, and you got to go hit that bell and then hit that bell. then you got to descend and all that. It's fun. We just go have fun. And my buddy Jimmy, he would say like, man, those bur oaks are like a sidewalk in the sky, bro. And we just had fun all day. We'd be climbing in and out of those trees and just having the times of our lives. Yeah, that's it. Bur oak is my favorite. They're just beautiful, majestic trees. Very beefy, very, very burly. They're hard to damage, honestly. We're moving on. Leaves around the oak wilt is harmful to my oak pile. Leaves up around the trunk. They're about 16 to 18 inches above the dirt. I'm thinking I should remove them, but ? Thanks in advance. Thanks for advice. Thanks for advice. Yeah, I already commented on this one, but absolutely get them away from the base there. Those leaves what they'll do is they'll start to trap moisture against the trunk. And that's a very bad thing. Anytime you got moisture growing against the trunk, that tissue is not designed to stay wet. And so what'll happen is that'll be a perfect breeding ground for fungal pathogens and things like that. By the way, this looks like another white oak, Jamie. Looks like a white oak or some sort of that might be a Quercus stellata, and you got some beautiful deer in the background. Look at that. Yeah, so I don't know why people do this, but they seem to love doing like mulch volcanoes. Mulch volcanoes is basically where you pile mulch up against the base of a tree, and people do the same with their leaves. It looks like they're already chopped up, but if you could spread those out around the tree, Fred, I think that would do actually a lot of good. You can turn a bad situation into a good situation there. If you got a little blower or even a rake, just like push them out to the edges there. That'll be much, much better. So, and here's a little video on why friends don't let friends mulch volcano, y'all. If you see something, say something. All right, we're moving on. Lo, would you recommend removing this horizontal branch from this 20-year-old pear tree? That looks like a non-Bradford pear. I love that. That's a real pear. What kind of pear is it? Do you get to eat the fruit? Oh, 1 second, y'all. No, I would leave it. Okay, so this is a great example, y'all. I'm going to use yours. I hope you don't mind, Ann. I'm going to use yours as a great example of what to do with a certain situation like this. So paint. Jamie, oh, that's a great question. Zone 8. I might say, it's a really cool tree to plant. I'll give you a couple of them. One is an Eastern redbud, and it depends where exactly. Check your soil type too, because they like a little bit of a good drainage. So if you've got a really heavy clay, maybe not. But crepe myrtles do well. They're kind of invasive, so that wouldn't be my first choice. Saucer magnolias are going to be beautiful. You might even you might want to double check and see if there's any varieties that the nurseries sell of like crabapple is brilliant. What else? Flowering tree. Oh, Mexican plum. They make purple plums as well that are really beautiful. They got like a purple leaf, almost like a loropetalum, and they've got a really just beautiful purple flower, like purplish pinkish. So those would be great options, actually. All right, and let's go over here, and we're going to talk about this one, and because this is brilliant. I love that you're asking this. What I would do, don't remove that limb, Ann. What you want to do is instead start making some strategic reduction cuts that are going to be way better for the tree. The tree will get to leave the limb that's on there, which it'll continue to produce for it. And it will not you're not going to have a big gaping axe wound that the tree has to seal. Now, in a perfect world, like 2 or 3 years ago, you would have gotten rid of this one right here. But a little late for that now. I wouldn't touch it. I'd leave it alone. So tree's doing okay. But what I would do, and this is called reduction pruning. Now, there's a guy out of University of Florida that I really admire. I just did a video on actually some of his documentation and research. But essentially what I would do is reduction pruning all around here. And then just like 3 little cuts like that, and you're done. And so let me go and save this for you, and I'll see if I can post it for you. And pair. What on earth happened now? Where's Anne's pair, y'all? This thing is going crazy. Like when I go down, it scrolls as is normal. When I go up, it goes like crazy, and it just jumps up like 27 different things there. So I'm going to say Eastern Redbud. Saucer Magnolia. And what else did I say? Oh, that's right. Mexican Plum. Those are going to be great trees for you, Jamie. I hope you picked the right one, because like, planting the right tree, it's like a multi-decades commitment. But if you do it right, you've got a beautiful asset to the home that you can enjoy and love and just enjoy for years and years and years, sometimes even decades to come. So it's really important that you make the right decision. Whoa, that's not good. I have this dead ash tree in the back of my house. It's my neighbor's tree along with 4 other dead ash trees. Unalived ash trees. Excuse me, Facebook algorithms. I'm sorry. Did the crack in the tree indicate that what direction it might fall? Just slightly into the left and opposite side of the crack. Thank you. No, that is called a vertical crack. Essentially what's happening, there's 1 of 2 things going on. There's either torsion action going on. 1 second, y'all. All right, so you got this ash tree, very unalived, not good, and then you've got this crack here. Now, there's really 2 forces that can cause this to break, to do that kind of a split. Is you might have 2 separate branch unions like this they're just separating, they're bifurcating is the fancy word for that. Another thing that may be happening if you don't have that and you've just got that stick up and pretty good structure of the canopy, is you may have what's called torsion fracturing. Now, torsion fracturing is like a twisting motion of the tree. And what's happening is the whole stinking tree is just twisting in the wind. And so I think it could be one of those. What I will say is I'm seeing some comments about it's going to be a pain in the ash. Hey, that's a fun tree joke there, Aaron. I like that. That's pretty good. I never heard that one before. Oh, my bad. Y'all don't want to look at my ugly mug. Here we go. Let's go back to the trees. So what I would tell you is if it's that unalived, most trees I'm going to almost invariably recommend leaving up in the air. If you could just hatch. Oh, yeah. Oh, that may be. Oh, yeah. Okay. I see the 2 branches here. So that may be what's going on. You may have some kind of splitting action going on. That could even be like a frost crack. But either way, if it's an ash tree, you want to look up your county extension office and just go to this website and check them out. Because what they'll do is they'll tell you, just look up your state and give them a call and say, hey, this is the county I'm in. I just want to know, do I have emerald ash borer? And what they're going to do is they're going to tell you yay or nay. If the answer is yay, you have to get rid of that and burn the wood, because what's happening is you're probably harboring those emerald ash borers. Emerald ash borer is an invasive species that came over from China on shipping containers, and they are so nasty because our trees here in the States do not have the immunities to fight them off. It's kind of like the Spanish flu came in, wiped out a lot of the Native Americans because they'd never seen it before. And so it's, their bodies hadn't built up the T cells and the mast cells and things like that to be able to fight off these diseases. Same thing is going on with Lyme disease, by the way. Lyme disease is a manufactured disease. There, I said it. Y'all go ahead and arrest me and come monitor me if you want. But It's a made-up disease in Plum Island. Humans have not seen it until a number of decades ago, and now all of a sudden it's coming in, and it has devastated my family as well as many, many others. So hopefully our immune systems will kick in years and years down the road, or sooner than later would be better. But that's kind of what's going on. Is the emerald ash borer is able to take over. It's killing trees by the millions. Unaliving trees by the millions because our trees just haven't seen it. They haven't built up the allopathy or the allele chemicals to fight these nasty little buggers off. So that's all there is to say about that. Great question. Jamie's asking, honest opinion, what are your thoughts on removing trees in the yard to plant other trees? I have a few fence line trees that will shade the new trees. I just feel guilty, but should I? No. Actually, what I would do is plant the ones now and then slowly cull the herd. Because what's going to happen, and I'll go ahead and draw this out for you, Jamie, because that's a great question. So you've got all these trees. Oh, you don't need to see my credentials back there. You got all these trees, and they're probably fence line trees. They're probably growing over. I done run that one out of ink. They're probably growing kind of out toward your house. You got all these trees. What you're thinking about doing is getting rid of them completely so that you can plant new trees in. No, what I would do is maybe come in and reduce these a little bit, or maybe get rid of some of them. Just depends on how many you've got. And maybe cull the herd a little bit. So you've got a little bit of sunlight coming through here to get these guys well fed with sunlight. They may start to grow out like this, but wait, give it about a decade or maybe even two, Jamie. And then once these trees are established, now you can come in and start removing these a little more aggressively, because quite frankly, those are providing lots of benefits. These are not, and they won't for about 5, 10, sometimes even 20 years before they're really going to benefit the house and the community. So hope that helps, Jamie. That's a great question. Do I remove the trees now, or do I wait and let the new trees grow? I always prefer to leave the new trees and the old trees until it's absolutely necessary. Usually that's when we get to a certain risk threshold. So great question, Jamie. Thanks for that. All right. So no, I'm happy to help. Thanks for the great questions. All right. So Tyler's asking, any ISA certified arborist? Hey, that's me. Hold on. Let me copy this, y'all. Any ISA certified arborist able to tell me what the risk of this tree is of falling? I'm not certified, but seeing as it's got wood rot mushrooms all over, a huge cavity waist high at the major bend, leaning towards the house, and the root system on the house side appears to be in bad condition. Oh, man. I'm not there looking at it, Tyler, but that sounds like a recipe of disaster. Personally, come to the conclusion the fall is imminent and a major hazard for the structure on the property. Yes. So there's actually what we call tree risk assessment qualification. It's one that it basically goes over all, there's a whole metrics that we use. And you've got let's go ahead and board this out. You've got let's just call it likelihood. What's the likelihood of the fall? And you've got the targets or the risk. So what's the likelihood and what are the consequences? And we use this metrics basically to say not, kinda, very likely, no problem, some problem. I'm paraphrasing, this is not what the textbooks say. And big problems. So let's say you've got a tree like your tree here. It's got a lean towards the house, decay on the backside, mushrooms galore, looks like a not so great compartmentalizing tree, and that's bad. So you've got those three factors. I would probably say that's in the at least kinda to very, somewhere in here. Now, what are the consequences? That's the next question. So you've got very likely. Very likely. Hold on, I got to turn this light off, or at least turn it over there. Is that better on the glare? Maybe, hopefully. There, maybe I could see that. Maybe I just got to get better markers. That would help, right? If you could see my lines. All right, so now let's go back to your picture here, Tyler, and you've got a house. That's very bad. In and of itself, I would say that house is good enough reason to consider removal. Now, you do have some trees, I just noticed this, that are blocking it. So you really want to take a look at it and say, okay, if this tree were going to fall, are those trees going to be enough to stop it? Yeah. One fungus looks like Krishmeyer black tarry stain, and the other Carina unicolor. Both can weaken, would significantly take it down while the leaves are off. And if someone is going to climb it, they'd better start small and just cut and drop rather than swinging pieces around in the crown. Dave, that's actually really solid advice. I love that. Well done, dude. If you're watching this, well done. That is solid advice. So you've got, okay, you got a lot of bad things about it. And then if something were to happen, it's probably going to be potentially big. So what that tells us is this tree would be considered an imminent risk. And I'll be honest, I don't think you should keep this tree. I can't tell exactly. I'm not there looking at it, Tyler, but if it were mine, it is an oak, so it's a little bit stronger than some other trees, but I'd probably choose to just go ahead and get rid of it, or bare minimum, significantly reduce the top weight to where you're much, much less likely for it to fall. So perhaps with a little bit of mitigation, you can go from very likely to not that likely. And there's actually a lot of studies that show, several of them show that like 40 to 50% canopy reduction height equates to about 50 to 75% reduction in likelihood of failure. So I hope that helps, Tyler. You got a lot going on there, man. And if you want a second opinion, I'm always happy to help get on a digital arborist consultation, and we can always take a look at it in person, maybe give you a little bit better of an answer there. But yeah, you got a lot going on there, man. And I'm sorry you're dealing with that. That stinks. It looks like maybe a limb on the backside just split right the frig off, and that's why you're having these issues. So I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but better safe than sorry. Or as somebody said, better safe than stupid. Don't be stupid and let trees fall into your house, y'all. By the way, now you know too, so there's really no excuse. I'm sorry I messed it up. All right, let's go through a couple more, and we're going to call it for the night, you guys. This is James Carrera is asking, hello all, I'm new to the group and looking for advice, info on a pepper trees. Currently in escrow to buy this home. Looks like the neighbor had 2 very large pepper trees chopped down. The video shows roots near the home on purchasing based on Google Photos. One of the trees looks to be at least 30 feet high. Full-grown tree you see here is busted up the wall, all the walkway, cement on the side of the house, and was probably less than 10 feet from the house I'm purchasing. My fear is roots have got to the foundation of the home. I see a little greenery on top of the stump of one of the trees. So are all the roots still alive and growing? Ooh, maybe. Actually, I'm assuming if you got a pepper tree, you're probably in California, maybe. I'm not sure if the roots busted the pipes. So many questions. Sorry, hope you can help. Yeah, that tree's still alive, as far as I can tell. Yeah, both of them are still alive. So the roots are going to be growing. If you've got a slab foundation, I'm sorry I didn't see like the full. Let's see, maybe if we could see here. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not ideal. What you're going to want to do is that is kind of one of those rare situations where I'm going to say right tree, wrong location. You're probably going to want to have the stumps ground out on them. The only issue, and it looks like you got a ton of rain there too. That doesn't help. So I understand the sentiment there. You got a lot going on with this tree. Here's the rule with roots is they generally will not grow in an area where there's no water and no oxygen. So underneath the foundation, probably not. Directly adjacent to the foundation, man, they're definitely there. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. So they dug up some of the yard to fix the sprinklers. Yeah, you've got to get those roots ground out because that is, wow, you got a lot going on with that tree. And unfortunately, I do think your best bet is to have a structural engineer look at the foundation and make sure, yeah, that definitely looks like Cali. Where you at? Let's see if it says. Yeah, California, Riverdale. It's not beer, by the way. That's a bubbly drink, black cherry flavored. Those seltzer waters. In case y'all were wondering. Yeah. So what I would do is maybe have a consulting arborist. I don't know where Riversdale is, but hit me up, James. Let me know, and I'll hook you up with some great arborists in California. California's got some of the biggest concentration of serious tree guys, not just like the tree hacks. They got a lot of those too. Believe me, I've been there, done that. But they have some really, really top-notch professionals. In fact, most of the registered consulting arborists in America are in California. So fortunately, you got some top talent. And of course, like, I'll say it again, I'm always happy to hop on a digital arborist consult with you. And maybe we can poke prod around a little bit, figure out what's going on there. So yeah, 30-foot tree, that's going to be a big old pepper tree. Pepper trees go pretty slow from what I remember. All right, we're moving on. Susan's asking, can anyone please tell me what's going on with my gum trees? And should I be worried about it? Ooh, look at those critters. They're definitely demons. Hold on, Susan. Man, that's crazy. I don't know what that is. Let me take a closer look. Ooh, some kind of critter. Bug. I don't recognize them specifically. I'll give you a resource here is you want to reach out to your local agriculture extension. They're going to help you really identify that down to a science and give you the right answer. But what I can say is they look like they're foliar, something maybe laying its eggs on it. I can't remember. Do gum trees lose their leaves? Yep. That's what I thought. Okay. Sweet gum. Excuse me, eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is evergreen. So it depends where you're at. If you've got a really, really tropical year, they'll eventually get rid of them, but mostly in the spring as the new leaves push them out. You've got something chewing on your leaves. Now, when the new leaves come in, what you want to do, Susan, you just want to simply rake them up, and that'll get rid of most of them. You can always do a trunk injection with like an imidacloprid or something like that as a general insecticide. But prescription without diagnosis is indeed still malpractice. So get in touch with your local ag extension. If you got eucalyptus, that's probably not in America, is it? I don't know. Tell me where you're from, Susan. That would probably help a lot too. But yeah, if it's some sort of, if it's a eucalyptus, which I think it is, then I'm not sure because we don't have a lot of eucalyptus here in the States. I'm working with one of my local guys to get a rainbow eucalyptus because I want to see what they look like bonsai'd. I think that'd be super cool. But yeah, I don't know exactly what specific bug is chewing on it, but you definitely got bugs, and I don't see anything fungal on there or anything. But yeah, get in touch with if you're in America, get in touch with your local agriculture extension. If you're in somewhere like Canada, New Zealand, or not Canada, but Australia or New Zealand or anything like that, I don't know. You're going to have to check with the local governing authorities. Usually your state or your government entity is going to have some sort of agriculture extension or division that can get you pointed in the right direction. I don't recognize those. It almost looks like you've definitely got some chewing mouth parts on that. So that could be like caterpillars. I'm not sure what those, they look like eggs, maybe egg sacs. I really don't know, to be honest. So sorry, I'm not a better help, but what's happening here? What's up, Veteran Tree Service? Glad to have you on this channel, buddy. Thanks for being here with me. We're just talking trees. So we got this cool Facebook group where like some 4,000 people thought it was good enough to post their questions. And so we're just answering a very small fraction of those. But yeah, we got some awesome questions in here. Yeah, I've seen some of your stuff, bro. I really like it. Some of your videos. I can tell you the real deal. Hit me up after we're done with this and we'll catch up, man. I don't know you personally, but I've seen a lot of your videos and stuff. And obviously, like I said, you know what you're doing, and I respect that. There's not a lot. We need more people like you, and shameless plug, more people like me that really are serious and passionate about this work. Because I'm tired of reading about my friends in the newspaper, yo. This is a hazardous industry. And like I said, I've seen your videos, dropping trees, doing big things, and mad respect, bro. So appreciate you being a leader in the industry. What's up, Olaf? All right, this is all I do. Yes, sir. I know it. It's likewise, man. This life's too short to have a tree in your life. That's stupid. I will say this is I've had some close calls myself over the years, and I blame two things: proper PPE, and more than anything, the grace of God Almighty. I've had some, it's like you look back and you're like, whoa, that was, praise God, that didn't end me, you know? Hey, what's up, Sprout? Great to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. And y'all do me a favor, if you could like this video, that would help out a lot. Just help it push it out to more people. We're trying to grow the channel and, you know, get people on more of, yeah, right. Sprout knows you too, veteran. You're a legend out there, bro. Appreciate you being here. Can someone please tell me what's going on with these trees? I have several on my property. They all seem distressed. What's up, Verse? Oops. Oh, great. Ask your question, Verse. I love that, man. Bring them on. I'm going to answer this one and then, oh, dude, thank you so much. That really means a lot to me, man. Or do that. All right, so let me deal with Olaf's and then I'm going to get to yours too. All right, so this is nothing, Olaf. You don't have to worry about that. That is bark decay fungus. You might want to use a sounding mallet to check this one out. Let's see here, decay. That's right, Sprout. Hold on one second, buddy. I'm going to address that. Okay, so you got a bark decay fungus going on here, and then you've got, this looks like a live oak to me. Live oak's one of my favorites too. They're just super beefy. But you're going to want to get a sounding mallet and just tap on the tree. Here's a little video of it. Just tap, tap, tap a roo. You may want to get a prune, like a long stick, preferably fiberglass. That's going to be better. More than one day back, 200 years. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. This was very, very long time ago. There was something damaged that, or a limb broke off or was removed. And then the tree has done a marvelous job of sealing and compartmentalizing that wound, Olaf. So that, I think you're fine there. The big issue that I'm worried about is not the bark decay fungus. That's actually okay. Look up Perreniporia, Pereniporia. Maybe there might be some extra R's or some other letters in there. I'm not sure. Perreniporia. Just talking to the AI robot or whatever. Maybe he'll be able to help you out, whoever he is. But yeah, you've got some decay pockets in there. I'm really not worried about it. Live oaks, fortunately, do a great job of actually holding up a lot of strength on their compression tissue. Most deciduous trees, and yes, live oaks technically are deciduous. They do lose their leaves. They're hemideciduous. They do hold on to them during the winter, which would make it an evergreen, but they get rid of them every year, which would mean it's not an evergreen. It's weird, man. Nobody knows. I think there's actually a term for that. I'm drawing a blank on it. If anybody can help me out here, that would help. Yeah, I'm not real worried about those because the tree he's had these wounds going on a very long time, Olaf. I would definitely check into this, use a sounding mallet to check it out. But that decay on the bark, those little fungal patches you're seeing, I think that's just a bark decay fungus. It doesn't look like anything really problematic to me. What you can do, though, is send off a sample to your local agriculture extension and see if maybe some local guys know a little bit more about it, maybe know something going on in the area. You know, most people that come to me with questions with oak trees like that are wondering about oak wilt. So if you are thinking that, it's not oak wilt, bro. You're good. Hope that helps. And let's get to some of our live questions and hang out with you guys. Sprout, I'm really, you know, it sounds like the guy, your papa knew Jesus. That's all that matters. So I hope y'all had a good celebration. Also, man, I'll be praying for you and your family because it sucks losing a loved one, man. I really feel for you, and I'm glad Mimi let you trim the pecan tree too, though. Please send them over, man. Email them to me. You get my email. Vers, that's hilarious. Okay, that's not a tree question. Maybe a wood question. Well, never mind. We're not going there. All right, so I'm not even going to address that, dude. You're going to have to take that up with God Almighty, man. That's messy. I really hope you're joking. What you do is you realize that's sin. Just don't do that. What is it? I'm reading a book. It's a great book. It's called Take Every Thought Captive. So that's what you need to do. You're going to have to talk to your shrink, bro, and maybe a good Christian counselor. I can't control myself. Yeah, that's the problem. You can't. You're going to have to talk to Jesus. And if you're born again Christ follower, then maybe you are because you're a homeschooler. We homeschool at our house, but that's messy. So we're getting a lot of these little troll guys coming in here. So I really hope that's what this is, because that's messed up, bro. Yeah, you need to talk to Jesus, but I can't help you on that one, man. I'm great with trees, but like that's not. Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's another live chat. Yeah, it sounds like I got a troll all up in here. I'm good with the attention though. That helps push the algorithms a little bit, So keep on the comment, and also I'm gonna delete most of these later. But yeah, that's messed up. Is that another live chat? Yeah, welcome to the tree. This must be some tree guys. Thanks for your advice. You're gonna, yeah, talk to God. You're gonna have to get saved, bro. That's the only hope you have. And read this book. It's a great book. Take every thought captive. I love trolls. So much fun. Hey, it pushes the algorithms, and we're here to help people with their trees. So that just expands my mission. Y'all are weird. Don't do that. How bad is it? Man, that's pretty bad. Yeah, you shouldn't have feelings for your. Yeah, I deleted a couple of them better. I did. Sorry. I'll take screenshots because I've got them all on here. And hit me up afterwards. It's Matt Latham. Is it okay if you check out the pictures I sent with pecan trees if they sent yet? Yes. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull them up, bro. I didn't get the email, or I hadn't checked the email anyways. But so veteran, I had somebody on there that was like, your boogers are on point or something like that. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? Am I supposed to be like, my feelings hurt? Y'all don't understand. I'm a tree guy. Trees have hurt my feelings a lot worse than you can possibly. But there's only two people on this planet that can hurt my feelings. One is Jesus. Yes, he is alive. The other is my wife. That's it. Other than that, y'all got no hope. Bring it on. The trees make me hard. Ooh, yeah. Okay. All right. So this is a fun. I'm trying to figure out. Sprout, let me download these because it does show your email in this if I do it wrong, and I don't want to expose you like that. All right, so let's do this, and then we're maybe going to move on. Downloads. All right. What is this? Group by date modified. Here we go. That's what I needed. All right, so here's the tree it looks like before. I love this, Sprout. Thanks for sending those pictures, man. I think it's super cool to go over these things in live and in person. What is that other chat? There's one other guy that was where are you? Oh, I deleted the one. There's a person that was Christina Baker. It says like it pops on and says like I'm naked. It's like congratulations. That's weird. Don't say things like that. It's just saying I'm just not that kind of guy, y'all. I'm a happily married man. We're gonna just stick to that. Was that does stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to? That's for all you 90s kids. Or was that early 2000s or 90s? I don't even know. All right, so yeah, Sprout. What I'm seeing, this looks like the pruning picks. What I see is you reduce the canopy height, and tell me if that's right or wrong. But I don't see any big cuts. Honestly, I'm having trouble seeing any cuts. I do see you've got one. So here's what I'm thinking, Sprout. You've got a tridominant or quadrodominant tree here. That's not great. But you've got one coming from the base here. I would heavily reduce that limb. You've got another coming from a little bit beyond the base there. I would heavily reduce that limb. You've got one. The one with leaves is before. Did I get a decent central lead? Oh, okay. I thought this was the before, or the brown leaves the before. On the big one when it's green. Okay, yeah, so that's the before. This, it looks like maybe is after right here. Oh, dude, I love that. Oh, Sprout, that is beautiful, man. Well done. Yeah, I think you did a primo job. You've got a good, strong central lead here. You got everything else branching subordinately. You've even got this kind of co-dominant lead, but it's not bad. And what you've done is you've reduced that canopy height. So that is spot on. Yes, dude. That's actually really good pruning, Sprout. I'm impressed. And the cuts are all made properly. Veteran can vouch for me too. You know your stuff, bro. Tell Sprout about what a great job. He's actually a future arborist, a sprouting arborist. He's not an arborist yet, but I could see one reduction cut, two reduction cuts, 3, 4, 5. This is maybe a stub cut. You might want to bring that back to all the way to the base there. That's okay. Reduction cut. Looks like a reduction pruning wound here. Reduction pruning wound here. Dude, this is like primo quality pruning. I'm really impressed. I think you did a great job, Sprout. I got no complaints. And you said one other one, right? So that's a different one. Add 2 or 3 liters in the summer. Yeah, I could see that. This looks like before pruning, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. That's definitely before. Is that the same tree? That's not the same tree. That's what I'm wondering. Okay. So that's okay. So yeah, you already did. Yeah, like, right? He's crushing it over here. Yeah, so you reduce these. I might reduce this one on the left here a little bit more. That'll encourage growth up top. And maybe you got a bunch of them competing for dominance. But dude, that little tree you posted, that's just brilliant. That is like everything I would have done to a T. Maybe slightly different, but not much, man. That's brilliant. I love that. Okay, so this is before, this is after. I'm seeing the trees now. This is before, this is after. Before, after, before, after, before, after. Right? Am I getting that right, Sprout? Before, after. Is that right? No, on young trees like that, we were just talking about this. Ronald, he's another Ask registered consulting arborist like me. And he was talking about on younger trees, Ed Gilman talks about up to 50%. If you've got a good, vigorous tree with good resilience and good establishment, don't do it right after you plant it. But yeah, you can prune a little bit heavier. You may want to add some humates and definitely make a little mulching around their Sprout, because that's going to help just keep the grass out of there, expose the root flare, get those. If you can get rid of the grass right at the base there, I think that'd be the only thing I'd change. Get rid of the grass, get rid of those stupid little wraparound things. Yes, they're effective at keeping the weed whackers off of them. But if you could do a mulch ring, that's going to be even better and just help the roots grow and thrive. I talk about it all the time, you guys. God did it best. Walk into a forest. How does it work? Do that. You do have the propane tank here. I just want to warn you, Sprout, if that ever leaks, you're going to have big problems on your hands. Pecans do not like a gas leak. I'm sorry, but hey, but look on the bright side. Maybe that's your detector. Maybe that's going to tell you if you got a bad condition going there before disaster strikes and your family's impacted. So, y'all, I think that's going to do it for today. Veteran, Sprout, all you guys, Jamie, thanks so much for being here. Vers, that was weird, but, help. Thanks for the algorithm push. I'll take it. Whatever. You guys are awesome. So glad to have you all as a part of this community. Again, Ask an Arborist is where we're at. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday doing these live streams because y'all just keep bringing me some great questions. And again, if you need a closer look at your trees, we're always happy to hop on a digital arborist consultation. Hit us up on the web at Arborist on Demand. .com if I know my own website. Yeah, peace, veteran. We'll see you on the webs. And yeah, hit me up, dude. Matt, I'm gonna post my email address. I'd love to connect with you, man. I see you doing big things out there, and I really appreciate all you're doing. I've even learned some cool tricks from you too, dude. So, but y'all, if you do need help with your trees, we can always do a digital arborist consultation if you need a closer look and really take a close look and figure out what's going on. We also work with a lot of contractors and landscapers and fellow tree guys that are not certified. We call it a professional or a pro arborist support program, PASP, or partnership program, PAP is what we're calling it. And essentially we partner up. We're your contracted go-to arborist. That helps you get into bigger doors with bigger contracts, municipal contracts that are requiring an arborist. And let's say you just have a lot of trees and you need help managing them, or you've got your landscaper and you need help managing them. We can help you there as well and be your go-to arborist. So you guys, thanks again for being a part of this awesome community. We love having you guys here at Ask an Arborist. And of course, be sure, if you haven't yet, subscribe to YouTube. It's at Arborist on Demand. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of the evening.